All right. Today is Wednesday, January 7th, 2026. The time is 6:34 p.m. This is the meeting of the Westport School Committee. Special meeting. I'll ask everyone to join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all very much. I appreciate everyone joining us in the conference room this evening because we're getting new speakers put in the auditorium. So it's always a good thing there. All right, so we'll go right into comments and statements from the public. Seeing no public, we'll move on to our informational agenda. And first of all, we have our student representatives, Mr. Keene and Ms. LeBlanc. Please take it away.
We are starting off a great new year with a new showcase. After an amazing show of Beetlejuice, we are starting Hadestown with grades 7 through 12. We have no school on January 19th for Martin Luther King Jr. Day, and our next day is February 4th, half day.
All right, good evening, Superintendent Roy and rest of the school committee. First off, some of this may be repeated, but there will be no school on Monday, January 19th in observance of Martin Luther King Jr. Day. Tuesday, January 20th will mark the ending of Term 2, and with that, the ending of Semester 1. Report cards will be available on the community portal by Friday, January 23rd. The second semester begins on Wednesday, January 21st, and any high school students that are currently taking electives will have a change in their schedule. Wednesday, February 4th will be an early release day for staff training. Congratulations to Zoe Dufresne for receiving the Frank W. Galashaw Scholarship, and she was recognized at an awards ceremony at UMass Dartmouth in December. We wish all of our seniors well as they finish up sending in their applications for college and eagerly await decisions for potential ones. Congratulations to the Westport High School Drama Club for their successful performances of The Little Mermaid in December. The high school and middle school drama clubs are already preparing for their performance of Hadestown in May, and stay tuned for more information. Steele is planning for their annual prom pop-up shop on Saturday, February 7th from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. here at the high school. It is free to all students in financial need. Students need to bring a student ID, and Steele will be collecting monetary donations that will be given to local nonprofits. Now for some sports information. The winter sports are in full swing for our Wildcats. First off, the boys varsity basketball is determined and putting in hard work, but sits with a record of 0-7. Their next home game is Monday, January 12th at 6:30 against Avon Middle High School. Boys junior varsity basketball is 0-3, and I know both of them are playing tonight, but we're awaiting the results of those. The girls varsity basketball is continuing to push through their tough season and has a record of 1-5. Their next home game will be Tuesday, January 13th at 5 p.m. against Avon, and the girls junior varsity team is 0-5. A huge shout out to Mr. Nunes and Nurse Walensky for bringing the excitement of the pep band and the cheer squad back this season, supporting our basketball teams at the home games. And lastly, we have 2 athletes on the co-op ice hockey, and they are 3-3 and play tonight at Upper Cape Tech. 6 Westport students are on the Atlantis Charter Co-op Wrestling. They are 1-1, and their next match is on Friday at Easter Boston. And lastly, the co-op swim and dive boys and girls team are both 1-1, and their next meet is on Monday at UMass Boston. And that's all. Go Wildcats.
Nice.
Do we know how many are participating in swim and dive co-op?
Swim dive. I don't have a number on that.
No. That's okay.
Exactly.
I was just interested. Thank you.
Anything further from the group? Thank you both.
Oh, thank you both.
Most
Thank you.
appreciated. Thank you for joining us. So we'll now go along with our informational agenda. The next item is the superintendent report. Dr. Roy?
I don't have a lot to report. As you mentioned, the speakers for the auditorium are finally coming in. So we had a great experience seeing the current plays, but wait till our new sound system comes in for the spring. So we're very excited. In addition, we have put in, they're working on putting in numerous speakers.
About 90
that were-
speakers that we're
yeah.
missing.
Right, that we're missing for some reason, in terms, they should be done like within the next.
February is the finishing
Yep.
tie-in with all of our technology, our new cameras, intercom system, the speakers. During February vacation, they're going to finish off all of those little projects, and we're trying to get all our cameras on one system instead of 2 systems, which we currently have, but the speakers and the, everything in the auditorium they're finishing that up. That's gonna still take another week and a half or so. And then we still have to have them come back in, because they still have more wiring to do. And then February vacation, they're gonna finish it off.
So the rest of those are outside of the auditorium throughout this building?
Yes,
Yes.
throughout the building,
Yep.
yes.
They did the front part during Christmas break, and now they have to do the back end. Like, speakers are everywhere, they're loud. They're not
Yeah.
controlled yet, but at least we're getting them.
When you say missing, do you mean they were originally supposed to be part of this building?
You know,
We
I've
don't
asked
really.
that question.
Or was
We
that
don't-
later?
We don't know, but what we found out during this whole process, that there are people in meetings at different times, or in different classrooms, or in different rooms being used, that there is no speakers.
Right.
Like, the superintendent's office didn't have a speaker, Laurie's office didn't have a speaker, the main office in the middle, what was the middle school side, didn't have a speaker. Some guidance rooms on the opposite side didn't have speakers. So we don't know if it was part of, like, are those things that they took out, thinking that the original setup was gonna be different than what it is. That's the part we're not positive on.
right, and that funding for those speakers, though, is coming out of,
The-
it's
All of
been
this is
approved by
coming
the
from
school
the school building.
Correct.
Correct, from the school building committee, which, by the way, we are making progress on closing the project out. We're getting closer, and our next meeting is January 14th, I believe. Other than that, I can say that the flu has hit, and we're checking attendance daily, just to make sure that there is really, truly no spikes. I think there were 4 kids sent home recently in this building, but we still look like we're doing okay.
Anything from the committee? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Dr. Roy. So now we'll move on to the business manager report. Ms. Reposa.
Yes, so Dr. Roy and I have a meeting with the CPC committee for the next step for the playground for the McNumber School. We were very grateful. They were, very open to moving us to the next step, and they were going Thursday night for a remote meeting at 6:30, I believe, and at that point, they're supposed to vote. So we were accepted in moving forward, so that was a good thing. They were all very supportive of, installing a new McNumber School for playground for us. So that's a good thing, and we'll know more on that on Thursday. Again, we're doing our budget. We did have a resignation in our technology department. The technology director is leaving for a different school district. His last day will be January 23rd. Dr. Roy, myself, Mrs. Hargraves, we've sat down with the technology department, because we really want to take a look at what the needs are in that department, and not necessarily just jump out and hire a new technology director just to replace what we have. We think there's some more instructional areas that need to be addressed. We think that we want to get a better feel of what that
Tony?
department needs working with the
Is that Tony?
Yes. So that's one thing there. The other thing was, I know that we had asked about a little bit more with the revolving account for the athletics, that you will find that piece in your packet. So I just briefly wanted to go over this. I can always get more details too as we go along, but I just kind of wanted to get a little bit of a rough look at that, and also give you an idea of how many students paid for fees. And so this that you see there, this is just a revolving account for the, for athletics and student activities. So you'll see for FY '25, they started with a $21,404 balance. Athletic fees that were generated was $84,430, and then expenses total was $70,026, leaving a carryover of $35,808 into FY '26. Those expenses account for coaches, sports officials, any refunds for kids that play they may do a cutoff that kids don't get the team, they get it back again. Co-op fees, tournaments, ticket sellers, the scorers, so that everything comes out of that line item there. If you wanted to see a better breakdown of, like, what do we sell, what do we pay coaches directly? What do we pay the the sports officials, things like that. We can always get you that breakdown. It's not in the documents that we easily have, but if that's something down the road that you wanted to see, we can definitely do that a little bit better. So then starting off FY '26, you'll see we started off with the $35,808. Athletic fees, we only did for the fall season, so we've taken in $75,34 for middle school, and for athletics for fall, for high school is $21,167. Tournament bonus expense, $480, ticket seller and scorer, $600. Arbiter pay, which is where all of the fees are received in. The expenses for the referees and the sports officials, which is where they get paid from, comes out of there. Supplies, athletic equipment, $23.10. Refunds for student families is $27.80. Swim co-op fees right now for Bishop Stang was $1,000. So again, this is only a quarter of a way through the year. Well, a third of the way maybe through the year because of the season. We only did right through the fall to show you here. So right now, our fees have been pretty stable, so I just wanted to mention what our fees are. Cheer pays $125 for cheering. All of our co-op teams pay $175. So one thing to make note of, like we may pay $170, we may have kids playing football that pay $175 or hockey paying $175, but we may pay out $800 or $900 to the other. So there's a loss, but at the same time, it depends on how everybody wants to move forward. Again, hockey, football, swim, wrestling, $175. In line, these fees have not changed much in years. I mean, I think Mr. Pacheco can speak to that as well. They also get waivers, so they get to qualify based on their income. We have a general liability form that if a family qualifies in a certain range, they get free athletics for whatever season or for the year. So we have probably about 20 families that will qualify for free athletics during the school year. Just to give you some rough numbers. Same thing for transportation. I'm just throwing that out there because that's another fee that we charge families. We charge $200, which that number has been there forever, and that's only for grades 7 through 12. We're not required by law to transport students. Only students grades K through grade 6 do we have to transport. Again, we do, if they qualify for free or reduced meals or under the direct certification under the state, like SNAP benefits, Mass Health, those families automatically qualify under the state law to receive free transportation. So we have about 262 families that are paying for transportation, and the waivers of free transportation is about 119. So it's a big chunk of people there that are receiving that.
Just a quick question, and this is like a nuanced thing, but like athletic fees, when you separate middle school and high school,
Yes.
if it's a middle schooler playing high school, does that count in the high school?
No, they take it
counts
by
in the
their
middle
grade
school?
level, correct, as their grade level. One time it was combined, then it wasn't
Yeah,
combined.
I was just
We
curious.
tried to separate a little bit just to get an idea, because at the time we started in this school, everybody wanted to separate middle school from high school, so we've kind of just
Yeah.
kept it that way. But at any point in time, I can get more information on that. I just wanted to give you guys a brief, because you had requested it at the last meeting.
All right.
And that's all I have for the business manager at this
Any
time.
other
You're welcome.
comments, questions from the committee? Hearing none. Thank you, Mr. Foley, appreciate it. And we'll move on to the curriculum director report, Ms. Hargraves.
Thank you. Good evening. I have a few brief updates. We are still trying to get the word out about community celebrations for Westport's 250th. The committee will be meeting with our staff during January and February staff meetings to share information from the committee and to encourage ideas for projects that we could be doing here and partnering with them to garner some more enthusiasm for that. So stay tuned for more information on that. Our financial literacy program is up and running. Our first banking day will be scheduled for February 10th. Members from Westport Federal Credit Union will be joining Mr. Moriarty's entrepreneurship and Mr. Clark's personal finance classes during the first weeks in January to do a guest speaker series, and they will be here on the 10th to start that banking program for our students. And families can still sign up for that if they have an interest in that. Two exciting other updates are Innovation Career Pathways. You have a flyer in your packet about that. Our team has met twice so far, and the two pieces that have come out of those meetings are the development of this flyer to get the word out to students that the pathways are here, they're open for enrollment. We're really looking for freshmen and sophomores, primarily, because they would have enough time to complete a full pathway. And in order to complete a pathway, students need to take 2 technical courses and 2 advanced courses, as well as complete a 100-hour internship. So it's an intensive program, but certainly doable over the course of their 4 years. We have some interest already, and a couple of juniors and seniors are interested, and so the guidance counselors will be doing some records reviews with those students to see if they qualify regarding those requirements. And you know, our goal by the end of the year is to have 15 students enrolled in each of the pathways. It's a lofty goal. Not sure we'll meet it, but we're hoping to get there. Oh, and the other piece that came out of those meetings is we do have a website up and running, and that is on linked to our main website. It's nested under the high school page. It's right up at the top of the high school page. So if families are interested in learning more about the career pathways, they can take a look there. Dr. Roy and I will be starting some instructional leadership teams. We formed 2 teams, a STEM and a humanities team. Dr. Roy will be leading the STEM team. I'll be leading the humanities team. We'll be meeting on a monthly, possibly bi-monthly basis, depending on our schedules, but definitely a monthly basis. This will be something that is a multi-year process. Our hope is to begin some of the work around streamlining and consolidating some of our curricula to articulate an overall focus for our pre-K to 8 curricula, and to be taking a look at potential curriculum adoptions as well as assessment. Members of the STEM team are Andrea Cottrell, Lindsay Gosson, Johanna Marcel, Debbie Milton, and Hannah Moreno. And members of the ELA team are Kelly Croft, Jen Merchant, Bonnie Santos, Michelle Tripp, and Jody Williams. And that's it.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Ms. Grace. Most appreciated. Next item up is our committee liaison reports, and we'll start at this end, Mr. Melnick.
Nothing to report at this time.
Nothing here either.
Only, no meetings. I will be at the school building committee meeting next Wednesday.
And Mr. Chico.
Cable Advisory Committee met on the 9th of December. Main topics were budget discussion, as we're familiar with and going through ourselves right now. And also we approved the hiring of a camera operator for the Cable Committee, and actually happy to announce that it's a high school student from here, which is very good. And our next meeting will most likely be towards the end of March. That's it for me.
All right, so the only thing I have, the CIPC Capital Improvement Planning Committee met a few weeks before, I guess, Christmas, and approved quite a few of the requests as far as the school department had. There was a subsequent request to switch funding for one truck, I think the dump truck.
Correct.
For the whichever truck is more urgently needed, and based on the response, I don't think it's going to be an issue to do that. There will be a subsequent meeting just to go over that one more time. So that was a very positive developments there, including, as you mentioned earlier, the playground work. That's also the make ready, if you will,
Is
work
part of this.
on the CIPC side was approved as well. And of course, those will be going before town meeting in May. So that's all I have on the committee liaison reports. We'll move on next to the student staff attendance report. Everyone has the latest reports in your packet. And if there were any comments, questions, concerns from the committee
It's
on
just,
this?
like, what happened the week of December 8th through the 12th? At the MAC, 92 students absent. At the West, 186. At the middle school, 208. And at the high school, 230.
All in that same week, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Like, there was a half day, right? I wonder if it was the half day. People were just like,
from the
meh,
8th
you're
to
not
the
gonna
12th,
go.
that would have
Well,
been,
that could have been.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes, that could have been.
I think there was a half
We
day
have a
that week.
We didn't have a snow.
There wasn't a snow
There
day.
wasn't.
No, no, I
No.
don't know, but like a,
Yo, actually, that makes sense, because
Snow
it
day.
says 4.5.
Yes.
No, it was a half day. I wonder if kids, like,
Just
parents
didn't
just
come in.
didn't send
it
kids.
might have just,
Yeah,
yep.
so that probably, yeah, that,
that's just chaotic to me. Like, send your kid to school. Don't put that in the notes.
It's not in public.
Do you think people are watching?
by and large, having the attendance over, I mean, 95% most of the time is.
No, I
certainly,
know, that's
you know.
just crazy, though.
I will say again, compared to years previous, a few years ago, this is pretty good both on the student and staff side of the attendance, so. Any other questions? Questions or concerns on that one? All right, hearing none, we'll move on to the next item, which is to acknowledge the Westport Community Schools bill warrant dated December the 12th, 2025 for $172,564.53. The bill warrant dated on December 26th, 2025 for $497,655.60. And finally, dated January 9th, 2026 in the amount of $175,820.86. Were there any questions on the bill warrants? And everybody should have had, these should be coming ahead of time as well, everybody via email. So were there any questions, concerns on any items on this? Hearing none, we'll consider these acknowledged. We'll move on to the next item in our presentation, which would be the superintendent findings presentation. Dr. Roy, this is having to do, follow up on the entry plan. So Dr. Roy, please.
It is.
Take it away.
And I am on schedule with this, so we have it posted there. Lori, if you want to go to the next slide. So just as a reminder, when I presented the entry plan process to you early in the fall, the goal is really for me to understand, right, what's going on and not just make assumptions. And so now I've done a lot of learning and some stuff, and today I'm going to show you where our findings are from a big picture perspective. We will be getting a strategic planning process. Our strategic plan expires at the end of the school year. So these findings, just to understand, it's just findings at this point. Hopefully that will begin to inform the strategic plan for the next 3 to 5 years later in the year. Okay. So I just wanted to explain to you and the public how I collected this data. I mean, and Ms. Mello actually helped an awful lot because she was at my sessions. I did 13 listening sessions with families, PTO, staff, and students. We also did an online survey and got 49 respondents, 11 community partner meetings, 13 school visits and classroom observations, 8 individual interviews. Some of you were included in that. Looked at document reviews. All in all, I had 46 different artifacts of what I wanted to kind of compile. As a reminder, the listening sessions were really guided by those guiding questions that you see on the right-hand side. It's really what are the strengths, what are the weaknesses, but also what do you value and what do you hope for our children? And all transparency, I did use a bit of AI to help me use this. I was experimenting with AI to help me with my 46 documents, and so in all transparency, the way that was working, I read through all of our notes. I thought about some themes. I've been thinking about some themes. You cross-check it with AI. It's a back and forth process. It's really fascinating, this whole AI technology. I'm sure we'll be bringing a policy up to you at some point very soon. So this is a first sort of dab into ethical use of AI, where there's a lot of cross-checking and you're not just making assumptions. Okay, so with that said, let's move to the next. So of all of those different data sources, I compiled them into sort of 5, what I'm calling building blocks. And they all truly do build upon each other. Foundationally, the community. I've heard that over and over and over. The Westport community and the pride, it's strong, it grounds us. It was just a joy to listen and learn about, okay? So, and I'll explain the themes. The next that I want to talk to you about is the human capital and operations. We have tremendously good, dedicated people here who just want the best. They want to do a good job. They want to support the schools, and I'll talk a little bit more about that. The curriculum piece, Ms. Hargraves mentioned in her update some of the work that we know we need to do with curriculum. Once you have these sort of pieces, you have the strong community, you have good folks and good strong operations, you've got a good tier 1 core curriculum, then it gets a little tricky because that doesn't work for everybody and you need student support. Because some kids are a bit tricky, right? And they're more complex needs. So that was the other theme. And if you put all those things together with a lot of aspirations for kids, if we can do all of this really well, which is the complexity of schooling, then we're going to have a thriving school community, right? And so what I'm going to share with you now are the themes that came out in terms of both strengths and areas of concern or areas to improve, which is true for every district, right, in the Commonwealth. Okay. So this first one, as I mentioned, this is my favorite one, community, relationships, trust, and shared identity. I'm not going to read all those bullets for you. You can you can read those bullets. As I said, and you all know it, you're in the community. Community pride and communication is strong. So many community partners want to support the work, and that you see that in the second theme about community partnerships. They want to support the schools. Just the picture over there is the Veterans Day celebration. It was my first time at the Veterans Day celebration across all schools. It was just an amazing event to see that intergenerational community support. You know, the parents, the teachers, everybody talked about this tight-knit, small community. But there's also, if we want to move a little bit into the concerns, there's this, I don't know, I guess a narrative about other folks not understanding how good Westport is, and so they take their kids out, right? The kids go somewhere else. So there's that push and pull, and there's such a sense of pride that people just don't know enough about Westport. And if they knew more, then they would understand and they would want to keep their kids in the district. And that's where you see some calls for more really communications, public relations, the communications piece. The other fun thing about this, we have so many boosters and community partners and activities, but the downside is coordinating all those activities becomes a nightmare. And so they're overlapping, so there's lots of calls to make that a consistent way that we're all communicating, so we're not planning 5 events on one day, which we did, I think, this year, right? So we're trying to, you know, work with that more coherent approach. Okay, all right, next thing. human capital and operations, staff quality, facilities, and resource management. This is where I'm saying you've got so many folks like Michelle, like Lori, who are, Westport residents, brown and white forever. My favorite colors now is, by the way, brown and white. Like, I'm all over the brown and white. I don't have it on today, but they do a great job, and they don't get paid a lot compared to other districts. I think you know this, but it's truly an asset. It's truly true. They are, folks like just Lori and Michelle, but there's other folks in here. Our HR, business, our facilities folks. I'm very impressed with how facilities is run. And you see the West Bathroom Project as the sort of the little picture there. They're not big, but boy, they get their stuff done. They really do. And when there's an incident, they are right on it before I can even drive my little car up to see what's going on. So again, really people who just want to do good work, right? It's so rewarding to be in a community where I'm seeing this kind of dedication. So all this investments that you've done, that the committee has been approving and working towards in the facilities and the technology, people are noticing. People feel good about that. The staff feel good about that. They like the redesign of the bathrooms and all the work and the fields and everything else that's being done. There were not many concerns about there. I would say what I've been trying to do is streamline some of like our HR functions or our information management system. So there's places that we need to be a little bit more automatic or automated with, right, using technology, because our HR department is a department of 1.5 people, right, for everybody, for the whole district. And so we are working on streamlining that with some technology. And what we talk about, our conversations with the technology folks, which Michelle was talking to you about, technology, once you kind of get it, next year you're already behind the curve, right? Because it's always advancing. It's always going to the next level. So very much like with the fields, we understand that we may need to do some outsourcing for some real expertise. This stuff is complicated. Cybersecurity, it's complicated. And if we go down, right, we're in big trouble. So those are more on the concern sides, but nothing major there. Okay, next, please. Curriculum, academics, programs, pathways, and enrichment. You see the Little Mermaid cast there, that show. I can't tell you how many folks from different stakeholders talked about the extracurricular programming we have, the music, the sports, all the drama. I'm extremely impressed, and they're all extremely impressed. For a small district, we do a lot, and we do it well. And kids are just completely thriving in those spaces, right? It's so wonderful to go to I went to watch some games the other day, and you had middle school basketball, you had freshman basketball on this side, you had other games coming up. No one had their phones with them. It was a lovely thing, but kids were just doing good, positive youth development. So really so much work has been done on that quality programming, the advanced placement. We're a small district, but we offer as many advanced placements as any other district. This is great work to do. We have some really creative some teachers with creative curriculum, like our STEM teachers. They've developed their own curriculum. It's very innovative. It's very hands-on. We continue to do work on early literacy. And there's these little seeds, what I call seeds of experiential learning, like the projects with the Watershed Alliance and the Farm to School projects and the SPED kids going out in the community every week. These are just little seeds that really could blossom into sort of very innovative programming. Now, on concerns, on the other side, there is quite a few concerns with the curriculum. It is inconsistent, right? We've got some pockets of really cool things, but again, I've been talking to you about the infrastructure. There is no consistency in spreading those pockets of amazing things. And this is why Ms. Hargraves was mentioning the curriculum teams that both she and I are starting. Small district, usually the superintendent is not running one of these teams, but we're a small district. There's not a lot of folks. So we definitely need to be a little more consistent. We need to tighten that up. We need to be more data-driven. But the trick is, I want to do that without hampering the innovative work that's being done by teachers. I actually want to elevate that innovation that we see from here to there. We have a lot of great staff and a lot of good things are going on, but I don't know, I think there was a lot thrown at them, and because of that, not everything that was purchased or being used got implemented, because it was maybe too much too soon, right? So we got to just kind of build it and move in a more consistent manner. Okay, next. Student support. So there's I picked all my favorite pictures, by the way. So these are all my favorite pictures. The Unified Basketball team, if you have not watched Unified Basketball, you should come watch Unified Basketball. It is just really joyful. If you're having a bad day, come and watch the Unified Basketball team, especially when the pep band is there. It's a great experience. So in terms of student support, lots of parents, lots of stakeholders bragged about our special education programming. We have some really strong special education program. There's a huge investment in the number of SPED teachers that we do have in the district. Our separate programming is foundational, the life skills programming, expanding unified sports. It really creates this inclusive culture. And if you see in that picture that I know the middle kid there, his name is Matthew, he's a regular ed kid, right? So it benefits the regular ed kids just as much, if not more, than the kids on IEPs. So this is really strong. There was some mention, though, right, where I got some concerns about the 504s, the IEPs. People are feeling generally pretty good, but the 504 process, that may need some work. And there was some conversations about, there still seems to be, in general, these middle-level kids who are not necessarily IEPs, right? They're not on IEPs, that are floundering, right? And this idea of who's supporting the kids who are kind of on that cusp. The kids on IEPs, they're getting what they need. But there may be this middle group of kids who need a little bit more support. So a lot of that is what you're seeing in the concern problem, and that's in terms of both academics as well as their social emotional development. So there are some kids who need a little bit more and not getting that because we're not quite there with that process. Okay, I'm gonna go next one. So love this picture. Aspirations, hopes, and dreams for the future. I mean, look at that attitude. So this picture, if you've not seen it, this article was in the Shorelines. This, I believe, I take no credit for this. This is a student who graduated last year, who was part of the electric boat, whatever, program, right, which our kids go to, and then we're doing it again this year. A teacher is driving them to Electric Boat for this real hands-on training. She now works for them, and she, by the way, is a field hockey, helping out with the field hockey team too, right? What's better than that? And she's a kid who kind of knew she didn't want to go to college, but she's really has such high career aspirations. If you have not read that article, you should read that article. So truly a role model, a roadmap to success for folks other than college. So, right, college is certainly one way. And we have many, many kids, as you know, that are doing very well and are going to really competitive colleges. So what the folks have been saying as far as their aspirations is this idea of having multiple pathways. Hence, the need for a career pathway coordinator in the budget, right? That's one of the reasons, because we want to continue strengthening, obviously, that more traditional college pathway, but there's this other avenue that can benefit folks as well. That's the part A. And in part B, this, you know, so if you're an elementary school teacher, you're not necessarily thinking about job opportunities, but you still have hopes and aspirations for your kids. We want kids to be thriving learners, to be excited about what they learn. But what I love about this other part is that last bullet, which brings us almost back full circle, where it says stakeholders hope students develop lifelong connections to Westport, give back to the community, and foster a sense of community pride. So what I sort of began with about what you value is also an aspiration for future generations. So and I've mentioned this many times, I've never been more impressed with the community, and I wish I would have raised my kids here. You know, there's a lot of strengths here. Okay, and so I think that's basically, can you just go to the next one? Yeah, and then we don't need, these are some of the stuff we already, I don't want you to think we're just ignoring the concerns, and we're already addressing some of those concerns, so it's a slide there if you want to read more to it. We can go next. And this is what's in the original PowerPoint. We are now moving from stage 3 to stage 4, where we've got to figure out now the strategic plan process and how we use this information plus some other information and move forward with our next iteration. Yeah, that's the same thing. Okay. Questions?
I'm going to say thank you very much for your thoughtfulness in this, and the process that you've implemented and already starting to address some of the concerns, which is great. And I'm sure I speak for the whole committee when I say that we look forward to supporting your work in this and addressing these issues, and certainly supporting the strategic plan that you present. So, thank you.
Yeah, I haven't been involved in previous, obviously, given this is my first year. I don't know if this was done previously, but like the professional presentation, the thoughtful presentation. Good job.
It's very clear there are challenges that are being addressed right now, but I also appreciate that you did highlight some of the great things that are happening, especially, I mean, the Innovation Career Pathways thing. That is a huge thing that I think will continue to send ripples down for many years. And I thank you again for, as it's been said, your thoughtfulness in putting this together. And I also look forward to the conversations about what direction, I guess, the strategic planning is going to go here as we get into 2026. So thank you very much, Dr. Lloyd. So,
Yeah, no, well done. Appreciate obviously the presentation and the the thoughtfulness and the time that goes into it, that you put into this, and again making that community connection at the end and kind of wrapping it up that way, really speaks volumes. Again, for people that are here and volunteering, for the community, and some of us may or may not have grown up here or whatever, but that thought of giving back, I think is lost sometimes, with students, but it's good to see that, continue to be reinforced here and coming full circle with a student, who I obviously know in that picture, and coming back and giving back and in the sport that she played here and loved and everything. It's a great job. Great.
As a parent, I'm happy to raise my kids here.
all right. Thank you once again, Dr. Lloyd. Thank you, everyone. So at this point, we'll move on to the last item on our informational agenda, which is the discussion of the fiscal year 2027 proposed school budget. Before we get into numbers here, just wanted to give a little bit of background into the process. Of course, this is a product of, almost end product anyway, of a whole lot of work and a little bit of magic from our business office, from our superintendent. Thank you all for putting this together. We're looking at a budget line that, including the contractual increases and some potential expenses. I mean, obviously, supplies are going up. The little things do tend to add up. As far as just the costs in general of some of the more mundane things. So, unfortunately, that does end up being increases. So, that being said, we've had a number of budget sessions. The school committee has, there's been meetings with the new town administrator. You'll be meeting again with the new town administrator, as you mentioned. The process now is that this proposed budget, which, to be fair, will probably be changed many times between now and the time we get to town meeting, because we still don't have, state numbers, town numbers. Tweaks will no doubt be made. But the next step in this process is to present a proposed budget to the Finance Committee. That'll be taking place on May the 3rd, or excuse me, February the 3rd. From there, we'll, by then, should have some more numbers from the town side of things. And of course, this is voted on as part of the town budget at the annual town meeting in May. So with that being said, is anything specific, Mr. Posey, you want to mention on?
No, basically just, thanks to all the administrators, the staff. I mean, we've worked very hard, and with the help of Dr. Roy, trying to present a budget that we feel is fair to our students and is going to help them and our staff, not just the students, but it's a way to give support to the students and the staff on both ends of the deal. So I think we've, put together a fair and equitable budget that is not astronomical, but something to work with that we can move forward and hope that it continues to grow in time over the next few years.
One thing that has always impressed me, even before my time in the school committee, Westport Community Schools always seem to do more with less. And this budget shows that, we're stretching things as far as they can go, but at the same time, I do believe this is a reasonable and realistic budget that's going to be able to meet the needs of our students in our community. And thank you again for all the work that's gone into it.
I wanted to recognize the business department, because not only when we have our meetings with with department heads and the building principals, these aren't just reflected as all increases to the existing budget over last year. You're also doing a lot of diligence to look at where we can save money along the way as well. So
Right.
this is just a
We
net
did.
difference. It's
Correct.
not that this is only an additive process.
Right.
Because
Correct.
I know every year, you sharpen your pencil and really work to see what can be done in the budget, which I think is good stewardship of taxpayer dollars, which is what we're elected to make sure happens. So it works well when we have, a business office that really does their diligence on that. So I wanted to recognize that. A couple of things I wanted to note on this budget that I think are important to point out is, we're looking at a recommended budget of nearly $25 million, but $24,960,332. A couple things to note there. 2/3 of that is simply contractual obligations to keep the existing staff that we have to support our students.
About
Which means
3%.
which means keeping class sizes the way they are, which means if we cut those positions, that has an impact on our students in our school district. So 2/3 of the overall increase in our budget is simply those contractual increases. The other increases there are the vast majority of them are to existing lines in the budget that we need to keep up with, because costs are increasing at an astronomical rate. We bear the brunt of when the price of something goes up, if it's lumber, if it's whatever it may be, we're seeing that at an exponential rate, because we're the consumer. So we're paying for these services or these products if it's maintenance, and we're seeing the increase of that. So, and when you're dealing with a district, it's tenfold. And I know that you've worked with all the department heads and to really look into those numbers, so I appreciate that. But I thought it was important to point those things out. And then the extent to which, we're looking at, I know the career pathways was mentioned, as well as a coordinator for development, and that's really, even there is sharpening our pencils, because we're looking to see if the opioid committee will help use some of the settlement funding to fund a contract position for that, or at least in a partial sense. And a lot of these are, like I said again, are necessary expenses. Transportation for out-of-district students, these are expenses that, again, we're obligated to meet. So I just in that special education category, we're looking at an increase of over $300,000. So just between our the original staff obligations and the special education, that is pretty much our entire increase in the proposed budget. So the extent to which the town numbers come in, it still has yet to be seen. We have potential and possible anticipated increases that we've included to kind of in our anticipation of the town number, just for our own estimation purposes. But I think we're pretty close to what we can likely expect from the town. And I think that shows the responsibility of this committee and the district in making sure that we're meeting the needs that have to be met to make sure that we're delivering services at a rate that our students deserve, and also being cognizant of the financial realities of the town that we live in. So just wanted to say thank you, and I think the process that we implemented was great again this year, so.
Anything else from any committee members at this time? So again, the process at this time would be, we have a recommended budget. There would be a presentation to the finance committee. From there, down to town meeting in May. So at this point, we have the proposed numbers in front of us here. I would be willing to entertain a motion to give a preliminary approval of this proposed budget, if any committee members would be so inclined.
I will move that motion.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion at this time? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
That carries, and we will move on to the FinCom presentation. Again, that's going to be on February the 3rd, I believe. And once again, thank you to everyone in the business office who's been talking about sharpening pencils, and
We'll make sure
It's-
that gets sent out to everyone. Thank you.
excellent. Wonderful. Thank you so much. All right, excellent. Well, that wraps up our discussion agenda. We now have 2 items on the action agenda. First of all, we'll review and act on school committee meeting minutes for Wednesday, December 3rd, 2025, as well as a school committee budget work session on the 3rd of December, and an additional budget work session for Wednesday, December 17th. Everyone should have the minutes in your packet.
Move approval.
Second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, the minutes carry, and we'll move on to the next item on our agenda would be to review and act on the Westport Elementary School field trip to the Veterans Memorial Auditorium in Providence, Rhode Island in May 2026. I believe this has, of course, been approved by the superintendent. Is that correct? Dr.
Yes.
Roy?
I move to approve this field trip.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
That carries. We'll move on to routine matters, correspondence, and notices. I have none. Discussion of future agenda items. Any items that the committee would like to see on a future agenda at this time? All right, hearing none. I have no topics that I could not reasonably anticipate 48 hours in advance of the meeting. And with that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Been moved and seconded. All those in favor? Aye.
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 We are adjourned at 7:27 PM. Thank you very much, everyone.